Hello and welcome once again to this lesson. In this lesson, we will make configuration of the OWASP ZAP and prepare this tool just before launching this tool into the real-world penetration testing. All of the configurations will be done in this single console. So as of now, we have been doing and learning more things about the OWASP ZAP, and now this is the final stage, final step in which we will be making configurations of this tool that will be must have for just before launching this tool for the penetration testing. And so here we can start like going to tools and the options, or just clicking this gear icon. Alright, so this is the options in which we will be making configurations of every individual tools, add-ons, applications, and connections of this tool, how this will be making and managing all of these things in a single configuration. Or you can say you can configure every add-ons, every tools, every working criteria of this tool, like the active scanning, passive scanning, proxies, and other quick start or the launching of this tool in the active and passive scanning modes at the same time. So just before going to start, we need to install the dynamic SSL certificates. That is the ZAP root CA certificate that will be trusting the browser and the web servers. So let's see what are the dynamic SSL certificates in detail. Alright, so here is the dynamic SSL certificates, that what it is and how it will be making connections, encrypting the traffic and decrypting the traffic connections at the same time. So every time we request or intercept from the browser or the connection of the web server, ZAP has to encrypt and decrypt each request before sending the server, and vice versa. But we do not know about this thing that is happening in the background, because this is already done by the browser. That's why the only way to decrypt or intercept the transmission is to do a man-in-the-middle approach. And how this man-in-the-middle approach is done, you can see in this picture, that how a root CA certificate is generated by the user and then sent to the server. In this case, this is the example.com. Now, what the ZAP root CA certificate is and how actually it is effective while intercepting the traffic, and how the trusting of the client's URL or the client and making client and server relationship is done, whereas the OWASP ZAP proxy is sitting between the client and server. There may not be the trust relationship because this is the intercepting proxy. And how this is done? Because every certificate created by ZAP is in the direct chain of trust from the ZAP root CA certificate that we will be installing in the browser. So the browser will be trusting on the ZAP root CA certificate, hence the client and server relationships will be done because the ZAP root CA certificate is sitting in the middle of client and server in order to make a trust chain and the trust relationship. So let's see how it is done in practicality. Alright, so this is the root CA certificate. This is valid for 1 year. Once you install the tool on your system, it will be generated automatically, or you can generate by this, clicking this button generate. After every 1 year, this certificate will be expired and you need to regenerate it using this button and install it into your browser. So let's save it, like clicking this button save, and this will be the name OWASP ZAP root CA.cer, that is the certificate. And if this will be saved in your system, you can just go to open your browser Alright, so in order to install that certificate, we need to go to Preferences, Privacy and Security. At this time, I am talking about the Mozilla Firefox because this is the best way, and this is the best browser in which we can trust and do a lot more things in order to make a penetration test. Now coming to the View Certificates, coming to the Authorities, here we can import that root CS certificate created by the ZAP tool. Simply click over the import and just locate that certificate. In this case, here it is, OWASP ZAP rootca.cer. As I have already installed this inside my browser, so I will not make it install once again. But in this way, we can do this. And in order to show you how it has been installed, let me search for the OWASP. Here it is, OWASP rootca and ZAttack proxy rootca. I have also installed the Portswigger CA, that is the Bub suite in this case. In this way, we can install inside your web browser so that it can make a trust relationship and the direct chain of trust to the server. Alright, so moving next to the major things that we'll be covering out here are the first one is the passive scan. So the passive scan is done by default. Once you put the URL, passive scans will be done, and that is also passive scan is done in the background in order to save the resources and the time. Here is the passive scanner tools and all of the rules like the scan rules and scan tags. Passive scan tags and the ZAP actually manage the tags automatically, and it knows how to check this and manage that. So here are the scan rules that how it will be doing, like reverse tab naving, how it will be alerting and making a threshold scanning, because the passive scans does not modify anything in the request or nor in the response. So this will be not the destructive kind of scans. Like we have seen, the active scanning will be doing some destructive kind of things in the request and the responses, by which it will be manipulating the request and response so that it can find the potentially vulnerable bugs and the issues that will be and that may be over that site or the web applications. But passive scanning does not do so. So here are the rules that it will be doing. We can change the threshold and the quality as well, like the medium to high. But this threshold is the similar to the active scanning as we have seen in the scan policy manager, that if you will make it off, it will be off and it will be not run for this particular, like the absence of anti-CSRF tokens, and it will not scan for this kind of vulnerability. So I will make it to medium. I will leave it to default. We can change, like we can change to high, threshold to all, and go. It will be higher for every vulnerability and it will be flagging every potential vulnerability. But as we have discussed, it will be also catching the false positives mostly. So making it medium, that is the default, will be better. Alright, so scanning tags that will be maintained by the automatically by this tool. But still, if you want to change, or you can add by clicking here, just name it, put the regular expression that it will be matching from the request and responses. Then it will be learning from that thing and setting according to that. Here are the passive scanner rules that only scan messages in scope. So we have seen the scope and out of the scope, that is the context. Here it is. So just clicking it, make it to scope and scan only that is in scope. We can include traffic from the fuzzer when passive scanning. So it will be putting some extra effort at the same time while doing the passive scan. But I don't think it will be better for the passive scanner. For the maximum alerts any rule can raise, we will talk about it while we will be doing practical passive scanning. So we are not going to cover each of them options like the settings here before starting and launching this tool for the real testing and real penetration testing of web applications. But most of them are here that should be and that we must be discussed here before going to start. So the first one is the connection. That is the must one here. Alright, so this is the connection that configures everything from the general configurations to the default user agent that will be set here. We can change, like if we want to change the user agent of this tool, then we can change it from here. We can also change the DNS TTL values like the successful queries in seconds, security protocols that will be covered, that will be supported in the connections, and use the proxy chain. This proxy chain is used for invoking other applications, so it will be covered in that separate lessons so that you can understand it better. But this is not required at this time, so we will move it and go to the first one. Like that is the most important thing before starting is the local proxies. Actually, this is the local proxies that you may be or must be aware about this, how it is configured in the browser, like the browser configured with the local host and the port 8080 similar to the burp suite will be configured. So we can change from the address to the port, because if you are running burp suite and the OWASP ZAP at the same time in the same machine, you need to change this port either in the burp suite or in the OWASP ZAP, because no two applications can run on the same port. Alright, so this is the local proxy, and coming to the active scans, we will be setting everything from the number of hosts scanned concurrently and the threads per host. That will be also similar as we have seen in the scanning policy, like attack mode. And coming to database. Alright, so by default, OWASP ZAP creates its database as we have seen in like the Java based database. It is created once we start this tool at the startup, and it asks for the session to be persisted. But I never try to persist that session if I am doing some demonstration or not doing some serious work like the penetration testing. But still we can persist that session later. And here is the configuration that maximum request body size, response body size, that will be the maximum, will be saved. So default option, that is for the persist or the persistent thing, like the unspecified, it will ask every time. Persist with timestamp and name, persist with user specified name. So it will be saved according to that, and it will be making the databases. The next interesting part is that the display, how you want your OWASP ZAP tool to be shown and how you like to customize it. Like the display is here, maximize bottom tabs. Let me maximize this a little bit. Alright, so this is the maximize bottom, how it will be done on tabs for the full layout. Maximize left to the tabs, response panel position, and everything will be there. And here you can see the font example, that how the font will be there. You can change this font, show a splash screen that will be starting after the execution and launching of this tool. So main toolbar, it will be showing the main toolbar by just unchecking this and checking. You can change this value. And how I want the display to be resized is just drag and drop from here and there. I like this preferences the most, because this doesn't require any value to be set at the same time. So in this way we can set change it anytime we want. Like if I am not able to see how many site contexts and how many URLs are there, I can just drag it a little bit to the bottom side, and it will be, there will be more space so that I can see. So as you can see, there are no full URLs are shown here. I can just drag it here and it will be shown. So this is the best way, this is the better way I feel, but you can change according to the display here and so on. So now coming to the spider, that will be spidering the tool, spidering the sites, crawling the sites as per the maximum depth you have set here. So as you can see, this is the description that this 0 is unlimited. So if you put this 0, it will be crawling the site by unlimited number of depth. So this is not the true cases in if you are going for the real world penetration test, because it will be eating more resources on your system and the networks as well, so making more overloads on your system, and it will not allow you to run other tools and do other works on the same system, because it will be doing if you are testing a large applications or the large site, then it will be not better. So number of threads are used here. So number of threads will be there, that you can set it according to yourself, your choice, and how many threads will be scanned for the per site, per host. Maximum duration is there. So the 0, this is the unlimited time. It will be scanning for unlimited time until it is reaching the whole number of the URLs or the host sites. Children to crawl, so it will be crawling everything from the main site URL to the sub menu, sub sites, and everything that is coming into the scope. Maximum size that will be passed here it is in the bytes. And now you can put here like the domains that are always in a scope. We can check it here, like putting this google.com. If I'm testing for the Google on the regular basis, I will put google.com and make it to regular expressions, so that either it will be or anything like the google.com, google.co.in, google.uk.us, everything will be trapped using these regular expressions. Putting this here, it will be automatically trapped if and always put in a scope once it is found in the context menu. But I am not going to test for the google.com, so I will remove that. And all these things are from the general settings. Send referrer header. A referrer header must be sent. Accept cookies, that also be accepted always in order to track the session or the session tracking, session management related thing or testing. So all these are the normal things, normal kinds of things. Parsing robots.txt files for new URIs are the best way in order to get what kind of URLs are in the robots.txt, because a spider does not follow the rules that are stored in the robots.txt, and if there is listed that it do not follow that or crawl that site, ZAP does not follow the rules of robots.txt, because the spider is a tool that is used to automatically discover new resources like the URLs on a particular site or whatever site you visit or want to spider, and it begins with a list of URLs to visit called the seeds. But it depends on how the spider is started, where the spider is started. Then a spider visits these URLs and identifies all the hyperlinks in the pages and adds them to the list of URLs to visit, and process continues recursively as long as new resources are found. And the spider recursively tries to find a specific tags and identify the links and add them to the list or the seeds, like the link area, href attributes, proper handling, frame, iframe, script tags, img tags, src attributes, and so on. All right, so this is the last one, that is the API key, and we will cover it later, that it will be better. You can see here the API key, that is the for this tool we can generate the random key as well, that will be valid for these addresses like the ZAP, localhost IP, and this is the IPv6 IP address for the localhost, or the 127.0.0.1. So now we can change the API enabled to the web UI enabled, secure only, so that it will be accessed only using the HTTPS, not by the HTTP. And this is the secure flag. It is generally put inside the web headers so that the website or the browsers will be able to identify that it is accessible only via the SSL or the TLS. We will check it later. Alright, so the Ajax Spider, it is the Ajax based Spider that will be available for those sites that are written in Ajax language. So this configuration tab, this configuration menu is for that thing, and I don't think there is more thing, because I have already scanned the Ajax based website, and leaving this by default is better. Coming to the fuzzer, here is the fuzzer options. We can change and set the custom fuzzers, add the files, or select the fuzzer like the attack, all attacks, business logic. It will be fuzzing the site. We will be seeing in the next couple of lessons that how the fuzzing is done, and what base at what kind of URLs and the sites that we will be attacking, and all the fuzzer kind of that the payloads will be delivered to that exact fuzzing locations. So if I am testing for the disclosure or the directory disclosure local paths for the Unix based or the Linux based, disclosing the source codes, disclosing the emails, so it will be attacking, like you can see, this is the FuzzDB attack. All attacks will be done with all of these, like the business logic, control characters, and so on. But if you want, you can change it to a individual one, like the disclosure of directory here. Custom fuzzers will be added with the custom fuzz file. So the custom files file is here. You can change, we can add here, like if I have, I can put it here, and it will be listed once you are going for fuzzing that site. So here is the settings that it will be finished fuzzers in UI, retries on input output error, maximum errors allowed, how many errors are allowed before shutting it down. Payload replacement strategy is there, so the depth first or the breadth first you can change from this radio button. So the depth first is better for the fuzzers. And once again, this is the concurrent scanning for the threads per scan, and how many milliseconds will be delayed when fuzzing from one to another host or the URLs. So that's all for this fuzzer kind of settings and the customizations. Coming to the alerts, it will be showing the alerts and how many alerts are to be set in the reports. And now coming to the last one, that is the database of this, how it will be maintaining the database. And here it is, we have already seen, I think so. And coming to the last one, that will be the report. Here is the report, and how it will be reporting at the last of doing assessment or the testing of the applications. So this is the format in which it will be generating the report. You can change, even if we have configured here that how it will be reporting, still you can change at the last stage of the reporting that in which format you want to deliver your report. But reporting things like the reporting title, here it is, the application security alert report, company name. So little bit things that you need to be considered here is that you can put it here, document to be attached with that, company logo file if you are working for testing for third-party companies or working in an agreement of the web application assessment or the penetration testing. You can attach the logo of that company or your company's logo may be there. Image working directory, where it will be working directory of that image. Customer name, so if I am working for the company XYZ, so this is the company XYZ, author name will be there, so the tester is there, and keywords will be there. You can test here: security, pen test, security, application security alert report. So this is the keywords. I don't think there is a much more valuation of these keywords. And now this is the confidential information that will be written once the report is generated. So this document is sensitive and confidential. Authorized by company name. You can put the company name here, that the company XYZ, company XYZ, because I have been working for the company XYZ here, and many things that can be changed. Exactly, there is nothing more from now to be changed here. And once again it is done, you can set OK and it will be done. Now this is the report generation. Now coming to the report, you can generate in HTML, XML, JSON, and many things that can be changed. Coming to this alert window, before going to start, we need to know what are the alert window here and how it can be changed, how it can be alerted on whatever you want. So alright, coming to this one, like the first one is content security policy, CSP header not set. If you know something that is missing here or this alert is false positive, you can change everything, every bit information from here. You can also change from something like the little bit information in this options, but double clicking here will pop up with lot more informations like the URLs. What are the risks? You can change it from low to medium or whatever it have been unable to identify the risk label by the ZAP. And you can change the parameters as well. Evidence is there, but if it is evident, it will be there that what kind of evidence was there. CWE is here, WSCID, it is the vulnerability level of ID that are there. You can change from every piece of information from the top to bottom and just save it. There will be saved, and it now from the next time it will be alerting according to that, because the ZAP have the learning potential that learns and represents you according to what it have learned. Alright, so that was all for the configuration before starting firing up this tool. This may not be of your interest if you know this tool earlier or if you have been using this with the configuration, but this is the must have for everyone who is doing this tool, working this tool for the web application testing for the first time, or even if they have not been working so many times, so that they can understand it every way and consider configurations of this anyhow. So here it is, you can configure, because some of the things are a little bit trickier here that that is needed to understand, but everything from the options here will be covered once we are going to test and complete this tool in this course. Like as you can see, the keyboard is here. You can set your own controls own shortcuts that will be accessed once you are doing the things. Like search tab is here, change the control. Technology tab, let me show you one thing here, like the exit tab, no keyword or the keyboard shortcut is set. And Fuzzer tab is here, generate alerts report or the HTML report, there is nothing set, I don't want to set it. And active scan tab, so it had the alt shift and A. We can change everything from here and set according to yourself that how you know that. Like the action cheat sheet, key cheat sheet is there as well, and we can reset if you have set it incorrectly. Alright, so it's been done for the configuration of this ZAP tool before firing up testing web applications in detail. From now, the next couple of lessons, we will be attacking web applications in real world, and we will see how we can configure everything we can attack, from active scanning to passive scanning, fuzzing, force browsing, and every attack type that it be. OWASP ZAP is considered to be the potential tool for finding that vulnerabilities. So see you in the next lessons. Thank you.